conversion rate for cold traffic. That is, let's say you get a Facebook ad, solo ads, AdWords, even sometimes where there's not a good relationship with the person who owns a list, and they're sending traffic to your offer as an affiliate. The traditional opt-in rate on cold traffic is less than 2%. Cold traffic is, they don't know you, right? They don't necessarily trust you. They don't know what the benefits are. They don't want to stick around long enough to figure it all out. So what we're really trying to do, and one of the reasons why opt-ins are so important, is that we can develop with the right set of follow-up email messages, and there's a webinar replay on that. With the right email messages, we can actually increase our conversion rate, the sale rate of the people who are watching our emails, to about anywhere between 14 and 20%. 20% is on the high end. 14% is almost on the sort of average to low end. And that's great, right? Because that is a factor of 7 different between warm traffic and cold traffic. Well, you still have to build a list, and you have to build it on cold traffic, generally speaking. And so we have to do everything possible in order to make sure that people will opt in with us. I just did a conversion rate review this week on a website, and I was really surprised at how little copywriting was done on the page, and how sort of rudimentary it was, and then also how logical it was. It wasn't emotional whatsoever. And all of those tricks that we continue to talk about for the copywriting piece are really relevant here. And what we're going to do is we're going to walk through, and I promise to keep you only about an hour, even with a late start, we're going to do this. But I wanted to walk you through this mind map. My brain works pretty well in mind maps. It keeps us organized. We're going to talk about the 80-20 rule. We're going to go through testing and sort of attacking the biggest hurdles, how to optimize things, and then we're going to talk about sort of the additional tips. But this is actually, unfortunately, some of you may have to go early, but this is sort of the gold nuggets in there. This is the sort of juice on how to hold people's attention, keep them there, and get them to actually give you an email address, and then they're on your list, and you get a chance to take really good care of them while they're there. All right, so let me just simply ask in the box, who's ready to go? Everybody okay? We're all there. Hey, Allison, I see you joined us. Welcome. I think this is one of the first ones I've seen you on live, which is awesome. Glad to have you here. And so if you're ready, let's do it. I'm not hearing anything other than misses. Let's go. All right, so the 80-20 rule. When we are talking about optimizing our opt-in for conversions, what we're really talking about is that 20% of the elements in your page will actually bring you 80% of the results. So what we're really talking about there is really sort of focusing on the pieces that absolutely matter. The pieces that absolutely matter, we'll get into each one of those individuals, but you don't have to now go and test every tiny little nuance on a page. What we do know is that there are key elements in an opt-in page that actually provide for us a very real set of results. And if we just make some minor modifications, some tweaking in there, we're good to go. We're going to be talking the next time we get together on the entire funnel design. So this is actually sort of a preemptive strike. The front end of every one of our funnels is some sort of opt-in, whether it's a low-price purchase or if it's free. Welcome, Phil. Appreciate the comment. And sorry for the distraction, but I don't want to take ourselves too seriously, right? So we'll just do it. So we have the front end of every one of our funnels. It doesn't matter whether or not we're selling a $50,000 product or a $15 product. We still have to capture the lead somehow or another, and that's exactly what we're trying to do here with the opt-in, is capture the lead. There are lots of juries out on whether or not you do it with a paid option or you do it with a free option. But if you choose to do it with a paid option, understand that your conversion rate will probably be a little bit lower. However, your engagement later on with your audience would be a lot higher, especially if you're providing really great value. So I actually have two lists. I have a buyer's list and I have a non-buyer's list. I treat them completely and totally different, and I think that that's important because when there are people who receive my email, if they're a buyer, I have to say very little to them. If they're a non-buyer, I have to work really, really hard to convert them in an email to buy something. And then that's true for all of the offline clients that I have here that we're doing some sort of internet marketing for. We have online clients as well. So it doesn't, I mean, it's just holds very, very true. If somebody buys from you and they already trust you, it takes three lines in an email in order for you to go, yeah, no, that's pretty cool. Let me check it out. Bradley's recommending this, and let me go see what it is. And that's cool. That's exactly where you want to be. You don't want to work that hard, but you're going to still have a list of people who didn't buy anything, and you're going to have to do something with them. And that is all in that email mastery series that we did, or email mastery webinar that we did. If any of you actually watched that, I know that Cameron did, and he was continuing to rave about it. So if you don't already have access to it or haven't watched it, I would highly recommend going back and doing that. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about testing like that. And the reason I want to do this is that everybody continues to talk about testing. Test. Okay, well, at what point does testing become such a rigor that it's not worth it anymore? Well, I can tell you that Simon Newcomb and I just ran a test I think it was last week or a week and a half ago, about 30,000 clicks. We learned an awful lot, and we did it in 2,000 clicks at a whack. So you don't think that it's overwhelming that we're just throwing 30,000 clicks at a funnel at the same time. But what we actually did was we came up with what we thought would be a reasonable funnel and a reasonable opt-in page, and then we started to test other things against it. So 2,000 clicks into it, and we realized that something super simple worked better than something more complex. Another 2,000 clicks into it, something super simple that had a little bit of urgency to it then worked better than one that had a countdown timer on it. And so we could test along the way, but we were doing it because the whole idea is if you can get a funnel to pay for itself, then you're essentially gathering leads for $0, and then you get a whole list of names of people who will buy in the future, and that's really great. So that's kind of where I come from, and that's how this whole thing works, and I'm sort of analytic that way, but it pays for itself to do these kinds of tests, because without them, you could be just reaching in the dark. You don't know whether or not it's good traffic that's you're getting, or if it's really good traffic that you already know is good traffic and nobody's converting, you have no idea why. But you can start to make some changes. So it can be overwhelming, and I don't want it to have to be overwhelming. And you can test every element, but you don't have to. If you want your biggest bang for the buck as you're optimizing your opt-ins, here are the things to look for. Your headline. Now, if you remember our copyright webinar that we did, headlines are this emotionally charged thing that allow people to sort of put themselves into, or you get to put yourself into their shoes about what they're excited about, things that would change their life, and put it in big, bold letters, and fiddle with the headline. What I can tell you, based on our research so far, is that the S wins out. If I put this out anywhere else. This is, for instance, in the headline, gives, helps, saves, and so forth. See the S here at the end? It's not this. Give yourself something. This is gives you. This is helps you and saves you. Not you save. This is the you understood kind of concept, right? If you have a new book that just came out, gives you the secrets too. This one is, helps you save money. saves you time and aggravation. The S's actually happen to help out or win out. The other thing in the test is that quotes work. Um, I don't have all the data yet, but we know that quotes work. And that means that when you all of a sudden in your headline put in your headline inside quotes, people believe it to be true much more than without quotes. They act on it. Pretty clever, pretty amazing actually, but super simple, right? And so if you were to start and try and fiddle with the opt-in form, you can mess a little bit around with your headline. I'll pick up the other training. It's an entire hour on how to write really great copy, and it covers this. But you know, add the S's, try the quotation marks, and see if those help you an awful lot. All right. A subheadline. The subheadline is that sort of eye-catching, super neat emotional thing. This is be the envy of your neighbors, right? This is you'll get rock star status, so on and so forth. You see, these are emotionally charged, and when we do this, it really strikes a chord. We get a hold of the headline, and now all of a sudden a subhead is in there, and sucks us in, and we wanna read, right? And so these two are probably the primary things that are stopping people from opting in. Your headlines and subheads stink. And they stink because they're rudimentary, they're plain Jane, there's no emotion to them at all. They don't invoke somebody's fear, anxiety, hope, dream, or happiness. It just sort of, yeah, it'll give you the secrets to such and such. Who cares? What happens when I have the secrets? Oh, all of a sudden I can sit on a couch with a pina colada in my hand and watch my computer as all of the money is coming in, right? The bank is calling me today and telling me I have so much money coming in, they're going to have to shut down my account. Well, that's cool. I want some of that, right? And so that's the difference. And that's where the headline can be tested, and it can win out. One will win out, and one won't. And if you have some questions along the way, just go ahead and ask them, and I'm sure that one of those questions is what kinds of tools are out there in order to do some testing. We'll cover those, but I want to make sure that you have every opportunity to ask questions. This is interactive. It's supposed to be interactive, so don't just sit there, or else you're gonna miss out on a great opportunity to ask a really cool question. All right, imagery. Imagery are the pictures that you're using in any of the opt-ins, right? There is what they call the hero space. The hero space is where that one picture is on a typical opt-in. It's, it's the computer, it's the guy standing there, it's a really sexy girl. It's the pina colada somebody's holding in their hand, or the cash that's sitting there on the table. It's the imagery associated to your headline and your subhead, what you're trying to bring across to other people. This is something that's super easy to change out, and I would highly recommend it. In fact, one of the ways that you could actually test that with your target market is in Facebook ads. You could, for very little money, for just a few dollars a day, you could test to see which one of the images actually gets more clicks, and then you can use that in an offline or in an opt-in on your own page, and then whatever, ultimately whatever you're driving traffic with, if it's a solo ad that will allow you to use graphics, display ad that does use graphics, whether that be AdWords or Display Network or Facebook or Twitter, as long as those images are very consistent or the same, is when they land on the opt-in, you're in a lot better shape. It doesn't confuse anybody. They go, oh yeah, no, that's what I was looking for. And so they get there, they see that, it confirms that they clicked into the right place, and now their head's in the right space. All right. Call to action. This is the instant access. Get this now. Download now. Click to download. You can try them all, but what I can tell you is that the instant access and click to download are oftentimes, for me, higher performers. There's something about the word click to that tells people what you want them to do, and then they do it. Without it, because of the graphic nature of the web these days and advanced CSS, sometimes buttons don't actually look like buttons anymore. And so you might change it out and figure out, well, okay, if there's a sort of an advanced CSS type button that's kind of flat like this, that might perform better, or it might perform worse than a simple image of a button where people are accustomed to pushing on the button. People get lost. Even though a Speed's page is fairly small, it's not all encompassing. They tend to get lost, and so helping them out there is super effective. So instant access and quick to download are oftentimes higher performers in the tests that I've run. Pricing. This is the other when you are offering on the front end a purchase, you can fiddle around with the purchase price to find out how it impacts what the conversion rate is. I think that most people are sitting in a Facebook group somewhere. I know that we just got some of these questions in our MasterMIND group this week. What do I price my product at? Well, it depends. It depends on what people are willing to pay for it, right? It depends on what the traffic is costing you. It depends on what you need for an EPC that works. And so that requires testing. EPC is earnings per click. If you didn't know, earnings per click. So if it's a high-price item, are you getting enough clicks to pay for the advertising? Are you getting enough clicks to pay for the list building? If it's a low-priced item, are people engaged enough and make it worth your while, right? And so you have to kind of judge how much does a click cost you and how much do you get in earnings, and then you can figure out whether or not that works. But you'll never know unless you ask the audience, and the audience won't ever tell you unless you present different buttons or different pay amounts to different people. And if you've paid attention to some of the launches lately, there have been launches that prices are moving all around depending on when you go to the sales page. In fact, I want to say that I know what it was. There is a product out there, PopChat. PopChat is a audience interactive kind of chat widget that you can put on any website, whether it's WordPress or not. And they originally started out, I think it was at $67 for the entry version, and then it went down to $47, and the entry went down to $27, and then from $27 they had an intermediate, which was $47, and they introduced another one, which I think was $97. But they did all of that during the launch. They did all of that on the fly. They were testing on the fly. Just because you are working with an opt-in in the very beginning, and oftentimes not charging anybody for that, doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing those kinds of tests, right? You still need to be doing them. And so send a portion of your traffic to a different page, one that has different pricing on it, and you get a feel for what people are willing to pay and what they're not. Run away from people who are just afraid to pay for anything. If they're afraid to pay for anything, then all of a sudden you have gathered a whole bunch of bums, right? The cheapskates. They don't want to be around, or they don't value your time and effort the way that you value your time and effort, and that means that they deserve not to be on the list anymore, and that's okay. But that's pricing, and that's how to test pricing. You want to make sure that you can really kind of pay attention to what's working and what isn't working, so that you can optimize the opt-in and making sure that you get as many people on the list as possible, so more bang for the buck. All right, and then scarcity. I think I told you about this before. Scarcity oftentimes. Actually, the subtleties of scarcity we actually saw. If you guys were paying attention inside the MasterMIND group, both John Rutland and Cameron were asking for help developing their bullet items. And there are still, by the way, there are still 3 spaces available in the MasterMIND. If you want it, you better go over there right now and put your name in the box and say, yeah, I want your help to create these bullet items. But one of the components in the bullet item can be scarcity, without being so bold as putting a countdown timer on it. And what I want to tell you about that is that in the testing that I've done, it actually works better inside the bullet than it does in a countdown timer. But I know that there are other people out there who have countdown timers, and they work great for them. So scarcity is audience specific. And it happens to be, it goes into context with how great the headline is, what the other points in the pitch are, and what the imagery looks like, the call to action, all of that stuff. It all plays in together. But if you work through this list, headline all the way down to scarcity, you actually find a nice fit as you continue going down here. Yeah, I found a headline that really works. I really like it, performing well. Now I'm going to fill with a sub-headline. I got that, and that's some imagery. You might only have to do those three, and you're at that sort of sweet spot of 2% with cold traffic and 14 to 15% with warm traffic. And if you're there, that means that you've arrived. And if you can double that, then you've more than arrived. So, always test something against what works, but don't continue to beat your head against the wall if it doesn't work. And you can then use those magic numbers of 2% and 14% and do some back calculations to figure out, well, okay, I need to buy this many clicks, and if these many clicks are at 10 cents a piece, then it's going to cost me this much money. And every one of those clicks, the value, the total lifetime value of the customer is at $2 or $15 or $500 or whatever that is. You can quickly do the math and say, okay, this makes sense. My funnel is working. If you don't have that math, then you're in trouble, because you're going to continue to throw money at an advertising campaign that doesn't work, and you're going to continue to throw money at solo ads, or even throwing money at the recruitment process of affiliates. And none of those affiliates want to send traffic that doesn't convert. So pay close attention to that. So we have some countdown timers, and then we have copywriting tricks, and you can actually see some of those examples in the Facebook page. We might be able to bring some of those up as we get going through here. All right, so Phil has a good question here. I'm going to go ahead and put this in here, Phil, and everyone else can read it while I'm reading it. Phil asks, question about background images on squeeze pages. Have your tests shown performance variation between squeeze pages with a text box over an attractive background image versus just a text box on a plain background? The answer is yes, an emphatic yes, Phil, and a surprising emphatic yes. A surprising emphatic yes. The simpler, the higher the conversions. And that is the test on my particular crowd and the audience that I was working with and the offer we were working with. But by far, a great question, because we now have all these really fantastic tools, right? With optimized press, we have landing page creation, we have profit builder, we have these opt-in fancy creation forms, lead pages, and all this other stuff, and you can do all kinds of cool things. But those all kinds of cool things, they don't necessarily work. So this is that's exactly the question you need to ask yourself, and that is the hypothesis that you run into one of these with, right? You say, hey, look, I think that a colorful background, or a photogenic background, or a really pretty lady behind there, or a paradise, or whatever, is going to convert better than no picture at all. Well, that's great. Let's go test it. We can actually find out, and some run traffic to both of them, and then the one that wins stays on, and the one that loses goes away, goes in the trash. And then you put something else up against it to say, okay, now the hypothesis is this red button is better than this blue button. Okay, go test it. And that's the process. So great question. Appreciate the question. Any of those kinds of questions are good, and I want to make sure that you ask them or get a chance to ask them. All right. Bonnie, so which one is better? Which one? The question. So which one is better than what? Or which two? Which is better? Help me out. Put it in the chat box if you could, what you're talking about, and that will be really helpful. Oh, plain or background? For me, plain. Absolutely plain. Simple, plain. Thank you very much. Good question. And for those kinds of clarity, just keep asking, because we have a whole bunch of data, and that data tells us some cool stuff. I tell you what, it's amazing. You run 2,000 clicks to a website, and the way we were doing it, we could actually run about 200 to 300 an hour. It's like a roller coaster. You watch Google Analytics, and it's this thing going up and down, and the adrenaline is really cool, right? As an online marketer, you get a chance to see all of these people watching and looking at your stuff, and then you get to see them coming through the funnel. It's fascinating. But at the end of the 2,000 clicks, the adrenaline wears off, and then you go, okay, what did we learn? Wow, we learned a lot. Let's do that again. Let's make another hypothesis, and let's do it again. Great questions, and what I would hope happens in our group is that we have a bunch of people in the mastermind that come in and they continue to ask these questions of one another and share testing information and that super valuable data, so that everyone can learn. We're not here hoarding information just because it's good for us. I know that as soon as we start building into everyone else in this group, then we're going to find that this group is super powerful, and it's the only place you want to go to get all the right answers. And so that's fantastic. So we promise to share the data that we have from our testing as well. We're just not done yet. We've still got, I think we still have about 5,000 to 8,000 clicks in our budget, and we haven't been able to have a meeting of the minds yet as to what we were going to test next. So, I do know that what we are testing, and this is actually super important, this call to action. Here we go. I'm going to give you, here's a little trick. All of this or a giveaway. The call to action, you guys were talking about, hey Simon, good to have you here. The call to action, in fact, Simon, I'm going to probably move you into the moderator's role here so that you can watch some of these comments, but just 1 second, I'll do it. This call to action, Simon, I was just telling everybody, we're in the middle of testing. We're testing is sort of traditional opt-in, and then we're testing the giveaway. What I can tell you so far, and that's 2,000, almost 3,000 clicks into it, the giveaway outperforms a traditional opt-in. Everything else being equal, the traditional giveaway form or the giveaway option outperforms the traditional download the free report, get free access to the site or whatever it is by at least 20%. At least 20%. Some days it's like 7 times better. It depends on where the traffic is coming from, but it's substantially better. And so you might actually think a little bit about how you're doing your opt-ins and maybe provide a giveaway. The way that I would see this go down for some people who are creating products, because they're digital products, once the product is created, it costs you absolutely nothing to give it away. However, if you ask everyone that you see on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else if they want to enter to win, then they have one chance in 1,000, one chance in 10,000, one chance in whatever to win, which is pretty cool for them. They don't have to buy it. And when they enter, they actually indicate that they are interested in that same topic, which puts them on a very specific list. Different than an email list of someone who just wanted the free report, it is somebody now that we can market directly to say, hey, look, I know that you went in for this giveaway, but the giveaway isn't going to be given away until the end of the month, and if you want it now, just buy it now, or I'm going to give you a 20% discount, and you can buy it now. It still doesn't cost you anything, and everything that they give you is profit on top of that. All right, so Phil's asking a question. Can you say more about how the giveaway is presented when it's used instead of a free offer? Yeah, absolutely, Phil. Um, we are using it right now as a way to gather people who are interested in having professional blogging sites built for them. So what we're doing is we're giving away a professional site that we have built. We're giving it away with 1 year's worth of hosting, and we're giving it away with free domain name registration. We administer the whole thing. We load it all up, and we get them to have content and everything else. We do it all in less than a week, and there's traffic already coming to their site. So that's our offer. And we're offering that in lieu of, here's a checklist of all the things you need to do in order to create your own website. There's more sex appeal to the done-for-you option, lots of value there for them, and it gets more people excited about clicking on a button that says, enter for your free chance to win. And that's all some testing too, right? What kinds of ads do you use and things like that. But what I can tell you is when people are offered an opportunity to win something, they want in. And so we can still look at that same audience using a budget that we have of what to give away. If it's a physical product, we can still give it away, and it's peanuts compared to the names that we can attract. Right? If you get 500 people who want to win a $4 item, or 500 people to want to win a $10 item, then everyone wins, right? The person who's giving it away wins, and the people on the list win because they get this, they get a chance to win. So there are a lot of tools out there in order to run those kinds of ads on Facebook and other places. I don't want to dive into that. Maybe we can pick that up at a different time. That's pretty cool. So as we move on, I am going to move Simon into the co-pilot's chair, if you all don't mind just a second, because you guys are asking great questions, and when you ask great questions, I get distracted with what I'm talking about, and I don't actually answer them when you ask. So Simon is coming in as a presenter. All right, Simon, you're in, and if you wouldn't mind, just go ahead and hit the moderator tools on your end and deal with some of them. We might hear you a little bit later. We might not. But if you come on, you can say hi. Hey! I hear you.
Mate, how you doing?
Oh, good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Evening, everyone.
Good. Good. All right. So thanks for being here. Thanks for taking on the task of chasing down some of these questions. We've got. So we're headed into what your biggest hurdle is, and then we're going to go into how to do the optimization, and then the additional tips. And this is, I told you, this is where the gold nuggets are. So hang in there with me. All right. So your biggest hurdle is if there's no demand in the audience, you can do nothing to improve the conversions. Maybe I should just sit on that for a minute. If there's no demand in the audience, you can do nothing to improve conversions. This is why you'll see me sort of, not visually, but you'll see me in different discussion groups on Facebook sort of hopping up and down and saying, wait, hold on just a second. Don't develop a product unless you go find your customer. Find your customer first, and then develop your product. So the reason I say that is that the customer actually knows what the product is that they need, rather than us saying, you know what, I woke up this morning and I want to write an ebook on the best way to polish a bowling ball, and then have to go search for the audience to go buy that. That's just lousy. That's hard work. So you can't optimize an opt-in if nobody wants it to begin with. So pay attention to what people want, and then that's what you give them. All right. And then the research side, there are sort of things as you're digging into the best places to go to give an offer, to get people onto a list. That is where there's a need and you can get the traffic. It's pretty simple, just those two things. Just when there's a need and then there's traffic. And traffic, listen, I have a product out there called Internet Traffic Genie, right? How to get but it was 2,125% increase in traffic to your website for free. But yeah, that exists. But there are also like 50 different ways to get traffic these days. Traffic should never be your problem. If your funnel converts, traffic should never be your problem. So stop worrying about traffic and focus on how to get people to buy once they show up, because we could drive traffic like mad all day long. Can't we, Simon?
Yes, mate, we certainly can.
All right. All right. So we're gonna hit on that optimize here, and that is to do A/B testing. Let's talk about what that means. And you saw earlier the biggest bang for your buck, what gets tested. So I'm going to sort of expand that whole thing. A/B testing. So what you end up doing with A/B testing is you take two of the exact same things, two of the exact same pages, make a duplicate, and then change one thing. And when you change that one thing, send half the traffic to the old one and half the traffic to the new one, and figure out how those convert, what the difference is. What you'll find is that in theory that sounds really, really simple. In practice, it's kind of a pain in the neck. And it's kind of a pain in the neck because until recently there haven't been a lot of really great tools out there that you can use. We talk a little bit about Google Experiments in some of the other products that I do, but Google Experiments is absolutely free, but it's a pain in the rear end. And here's why it's a pain in the rear end. You go to your Google Analytics page, and in your Google Analytics page, you go down to Experiments, and you go to Experiments, and you say, okay, the first page I want to test is this one, A, right? And the one I want to put up against it is B. And it says, all right, no problem. How do you want me to meter the traffic? Do you want to meter the traffic? And you say, look, just do whatever you got to do. You 50-50, and you address it. And then Google, when one wins out, you start to favor that one, and then we'll shut down the experiment, and we'll have the one that runs the traffic, right? Well, here's the problem with that. As soon as you do that, Google then gives you these scripts to put on your pages. And you go and you have to figure out where to put them in the header and the footer. And when you put them in there, if you use WordPress and you want to edit one of the two pages, there's an automatic redirect that always goes somewhere else it's not supposed to go. And it drives me absolutely batty. There are plugins to do experiments, and I get that, but the frustration for me is that it automatically oftentimes redirects as I'm trying to edit a page, and I can't get back to where I started. And so it just frustrates the heck out of me. The other thing about it is you cannot change the experiment in the middle of its run. Let's say you said you wanted 30 days to run in a Google experiment, and you actually have an answer in 2 days. You can't now take that same test and add another page to it and test it again. Test the winner against a new page. You have to create a brand new experiment. Look, it's free. It's powerful. It's a pain. So
Very confusing bread for some.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know that the first time I did it, I was so mad at it because I couldn't make a change that I essentially just forgot about the test and started something brand new. Did something altogether different. I highly recommend, if you have the time and you're very familiar with header scripts and other things, go for it. It's free and it's powerful. But other than that, find another solution. Look, I am not an affiliate of any of these. Optimizely, Unbounce, Visual Web Optimizer, and Funnel Tracks. Simon and I use Funnel Tracks. It's really great. I love it. I know that Alex Jeffries and Simon Harris use Visual Website Optimizer. And I also know that there are a bunch out there that use Unbounce and have for an awful long time. Optimizely is just another competitor. So if you have, here's the good thing. If you have any questions about these particular platforms, you're going to find some answers in the Mastermind. Simon and I can answer questions about funnel tracks, which is currently not being sold not right now. They're going to relaunch it here shortly. But Visual Website Optimizer, it is available. It does an awful lot. It does split testing. It does heat maps. It does lots of different things, and a really great tool. It's a monthly subscription. Funnel tracks is not. Unbounce is a monthly, and I think Optimizer is also a monthly. Almost every one of these have a plug-in that you can put inside WordPress or something else in order to make it easier to use. One of the benefits that I find so great about funnel tracks is that all I have to do is send traffic to a particular link, and the link itself manages how the traffic is distributed. So, so Simon and I literally will change a page on the fly, add it to the funnel, do an A/B test as traffic is coming to the site. We might have 300 people on the site at the same time. We pull one page off and add another, and all of a sudden we're getting instantaneous data. So those are the tools that are out there. Say again?
I love that funnel tracks.
Yeah, it sure helps us make some good decisions, and we can make some decisions really quickly. It allows us to. The other kind of advantage for us is that it allows us to retarget at the same time. So if we're going to send traffic to different pages, we just have to use retargeting pixels in the funnel itself, not on the actual page, and so it retargets everybody that went into the funnel somehow or another, and that's pretty cool for me. So I don't have to get in and fiddle with all the pages. I just send them to different places.
Right.
All right, so any questions on the A/B testing process and the tools before we get into
sound,
Say again?
You've got a bit of an echo on your sound.
I do?
Yeah.
Well, that's not good. Let me see if I can make any.
That's it.
Whoa. Let's see. Yeah. Is that any better? Hello?
You're still there a little bit.
Yeah? Huh.
I'm not sure
Tell you.
Background fuzz in the background.
Oh, it's a buzz in the background?
Yeah, like
a hot computer.
Sounds like a Hoover.
Oh, I don't know what that is. But, I don't know. Well, we'll do what we can here and see if we can't get it all fixed up. Okay, so anybody have any questions about the A/B testing and the process of doing that, where to start, how to finish? It's actually in order here. Headlines, pricing, scarcity, call to action and imagery. No, I took that out. It's not in order there. It's in order here. It's in order here. This is the order. So I'll have to move some things around, but that's the order. Sort of bang for your buck. And there is a difference. I think that one of the things that is important to remember, there's a difference between engineering a funnel, right? Like sort of figuring out where the traffic is going to go and what an upsell offer is and what it isn't and things like that. We're going to talk about that on the webinar. But there is a difference between that and then optimizing. And optimizing is simply making it perform better. And that's what we're talking about here. It's being able to test it and make it perform better. Okay, so here's the goal that you've all been waiting for: the additional tips on what to do and what things are really cool. All right, so there's a guy out there called named Todd Brown, and just by show of hands, so to speak, throw a one into the box if you know who Todd Brown is. And I know what that sound is. That actual sound, I think, is my hot computer and my fan blowing like mad over here. All right, so Phil knows who he is. That's great. He is a smart guy, and his smartness, I'm going to borrow a little bit of it because when I first heard him say it, I went, "Oh no, that makes perfect sense." There is a sophistication in the market, depending on where you are at, that determines the type of language you use in order to capture somebody's attention. So let's go back to the 1940s and 1950s when the pharmaceutical industry was still snake oil, and someone came out with a pill that could help you lose weight. All they used to do was give you a marketing message that said, "Take this pill, lose weight." And then someone else, you heard that over and over and over again, and there was a sophistication to the audience that said, "Wait, hold on just a second. Well, what kind of pill is that?" And then, it's a special pill. It's a pill that's only made in New Zealand. And oh, okay, well then I want one of those, right? And then well, what's it going to do for me? Well, it's going to make you lose weight. Well, yeah, I'll lose weight. I continue to lose weight. What does that really mean? Well, it means that you're going to lose 20 pounds in the next 5 days. And now all of a sudden you have a very sophisticated message that says, here is what we do with something that's super unique, and there's some very specific outcome to it. If you're in the make money online or internet marketing niche, we are in a highly sophisticated market. And that highly sophisticated market no longer wants to hear, download my free book, learn the 5 secrets. That's not what they want. They want something super sophisticated, and let's talk about it. They want the prospect's experience. They want it to be something like, if you're an internet marketer and you're struggling with building an email list or an opt-in list with no money out of pocket, you can use this special trick that we just came up with because we were working in the backyard underneath the wheelbarrow. We discovered how to do that and add 537 people to your list in 13 and a half hours. That's the super sophisticated message. And the reason I'm saying that is that a lot of you that are on this call actually are in that same niche. If you're in the weight loss or fitness niche, it's identical. Everybody is very skeptical of all of the products that are out there. So let me actually do one of these for you in front of you, and I think that you'll actually be able to take something out of this. So if you're a blank, somebody tell me something specific. Let's do this live. In the chat box, tell me something specific about one of your prospects. A specific type of prospect. First one in the box wins. We'll do this one live. Oh, come on. I'll take a nap.
All gone to sleep, mate.
Yeah, I guess so. If you don't pick, I'm going to pick for you. All right. So, okay. I'm going to pick for you. If you're work-at-home mom, and what's a specific situation or challenge that they have, and you're trying to earn money while bottle feeding your baby. There's a little known, and this brand new idea, right? There's a little known bottle feeding invention that guarantees to feed your baby while you take a nap. So we now have a very sophisticated marketing message that used to be, use this invention, feed your baby. Not anymore. If you're a work-at-home mom and you're trying to earn money while bottle feeding your baby, there's a little-known bottle feeding invention that guarantees to feed your baby while you take a nap. That's so super sophisticated. And that is the form in which you are probably going to be trying to use when you have your opt-ins. And that sort of goes above any of the bullet items and things like that you have. All right? So that is there. And then we talked about headlines before. And those headlines, remember, they were offer some compelling information, solve a specific problem, take away a pain, help someone achieve their goal, or fulfill a desire. These are those things that people want to see in the headline. And remember, the S is help, right? Gives, helps, stops, saves, those kinds of things. The S is help. And for those of you who are on the call, then I'll go ahead and get this out to you. And let's see. Can you do one for making money online in internet marketing? Yeah. Oh, we've got some other things in the moderators. Be good. Okay. I'm just paying attention here a little bit. Bonnie, you want to do one? Let's do one. Making money online. Let's do another one. All right. So you want an internet marketing newbie? You want someone who is sort of tenderfoot, or do you want someone who is super sophisticated? Let me know, Bonnie. Go ahead and put it in there. Newbie. Okay. If you're an internet marketing novice, and what's the specific challenge you think that they're trying to have? And if I were you, I'd be focusing on the product or service you're trying to sell, so we could do it together here, and you'll benefit from it, and everyone wins. Right? So a done-for-you package, newbie. Okay, so if you're an internet marketing novice, and so done-for-you packages, the benefit of done-for-you packages it circumvents having to have the time or wanting to learn all that stuff, right? And so if you're an internet marketing newbie and you need a funnel, a sales funnel that will make you money in the first 30 minutes, there's a little known done-for-you system that guarantees to have money pouring into your account in 60 seconds. I know this is a bit much, but that's exactly what you'll end up doing. Something very similar to that. If you're an internet marketing novice and you need a sales funnel that will make you money in the first 30 minutes, there's a little known done-for-you system that guarantees to have money pouring into your account in 60 seconds. Wow, that's powerful. Not necessarily true. Powerful. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I want one of those too. So if anybody's got one, make my credit card. But this is what sells, right? I don't want you to abuse this process, but use it in a way that holds on to the heartstrings of the people. This gives people hope, right? It identifies exactly who they are. They're an internet novice, and this is what they are looking for, right? But there's a solution for that. And, they've been frustrated by that before, and then now there's a solution, and that solution is super secret. Right? You can even do this. There's a covert done for you, right? Ooh, now it's clandestine, right? Covert done for you system that guarantees to have money pouring into your account in 60 seconds. So that right there is the sophisticated marketing message. It goes from basic to expanded to unique mechanism to expansion of the unique mechanism, and now it's an experience. All right. So now skepticism. You've now brought up skepticism. How do we gauge how far to go in puffing up the pros? Phil. Okay, so here's the deal. Let me talk to you straight, and maybe I should turn on the camera and look you right in the eye. Never, ever, 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 ever lie. Ever. So, as far as you can take it, without lying. You don't ever want to be known as the guy who wrote so much, waxed eloquent, and caused someone to believe something that is not true. You will destroy your credibility, and you will disintegrate any bit of effort you've already had up to this point. Not worth it.
Would you say that's where some proof comes in, Brad, of a system?
Yeah, in fact, that's exactly where we're headed, actually. But you're right. This is how to stave off the skepticism, right? how do you provide proof? Is there social proof? Can somebody else say that what you're saying is true? I mean, for instance, let me give you a really good example. If you guys have been paying attention to the welcome messages that you guys get when you come into the group, the welcome messages look an awful lot like this, don't they? And as soon as I publish that, I get someone who comes in and likes it or says, "Yep, we're the group. That's who we are." There's some social proof in that. There's some affinity. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your rear end. I'm just trying to call it for what it is. And I just happen to be able to tap into some of the emotions along the way. But I never lie about it. And if I did, every single one of you better call me on it. And then I better be coming into that group and saying, you know what, you guys are right. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I overstepped my bounds. I shouldn't have done that. I own it. But that's just not how I'm wired, and that's not how I want to see any of you guys represent yourselves. I want you to represent yourselves as high level of integrity as you possibly can, and then grab those social proofs, grab the evidence that somebody else has, and use it, screenshots, recordings, audio, visual, everything you possibly can to stay that on. Right? So good stuff. I mean, that's worth the price of admission right there. I appreciate you jumping in. You figured that one out. It's free, right? So it's worth my free advice. All right, headlines. Here we are. We kind of headed back in this direction. Offer the compelling information in solving a problem, taking away somebody's pain, help someone achieve a goal, and then fulfill a desire. Those are the emotional things that we want people to really go run away with. We want them to really feel like I want to read this thing because they get me, they understand my agony, and they're offering me hope. And it's the piece of hope that you hold on to. I mean, I'm sure that every single one of you have seen a headline in just the last 3 weeks, and you've gone, man, I know I shouldn't read this, but the headline has me so intrigued that now I have to. That's a really good headline. And grab a hold of those. In fact, copy them and paste them somewhere and hold on to them and revisit them because you can reuse them in your own copyright. So that's cool. All right, headlines. Subheads or lead-ins. This is the lead-in we just talked about. This is that hook. This is what they call a hook. If you are a specific prospect and you have a specific problem or challenge, there's a little known or secret service, secret to new idea that guarantees to, and you give a big old promise. As long as you get out the promise, you're good to go. So that's what we want. Bullet items or bullet points. How many of you have been, just by show of ones in the box, how many of you have been paying attention to what's going on inside the MasterMIND group where we're actually writing bullet points live? Anybody see that? You see the chat box, and so I'm going to see if I don't see any of those in there. Haven't seen the bullet points. Okay, so here's, you know what? I appreciate you saying that. No, new to the group. Okay, fine. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pause for one moment. I'm going to bring up Facebook. I'm going to show you something that's really interesting. Because I think you guys are going to go, wow, we could do this? I made an offer out to the group a few days ago, and that was, I'm here to help you write the best bullet points on the planet. And the first 5 people who say they want in, I'm here to help them. And I have had 2 people take me up on it. So when I show this to you here in about 30 seconds, it's time to jump in and say, yeah, I want some help, if you do want some help. I'm not here to twist your arm. But I think that you're going to find that once we see these, you're going to go, wow, that's pretty cool. Let's do that. And I just have to turn on the screen sharing. All right, and we're going over time. You guys this is interactive. Appreciate that. If you have to leave early, I get it. But if you can hang with me, I'm really sorry that we're running longer than I expected. I was really hoping it'd be done in an hour. So, all right, so here we go. Who wants help writing their bullet points for their squeeze page, right? First 5 to speak up, get their help. You get the help, and we'll do it live in front of everyone. And so we have so far, I don't know how many comments. All right, so here's Cameron. I'm in. Okay, let's start. And so I just simply asked him what he was promoting on his squeeze page, and he writes a drag and drop 4x script add-on that shows what their next trade size will be based on whatever risk they choose. So if I want to risk 2% on my next trade, it will tell me the next trade size based on account balance or based on what my account balance will be. All right, so that's where we started. Let's go to where we finished with old Cameron. We finished, we're pretty close. So it looks like, here it is. So this is his bullet point that we refined together as a group. This secret tool makes you the envy of Wall Street. Manage your trades like the pros using instant decisions and ultimate control to legally steal data that the elite 2% have hoarded for years. You'll only be kicking yourself if your account goes to zero and you knew there was something out there that could have helped. That's so substantially different than where we started, but there's a process to that. Let me read one. I'll read the one that we worked on with. Oh, and then here's the sort of kudos, right? It's great. That's what. There we go. Wow, Goldmate. That's really cool. So we started with John Rotman, who is, I don't think, on the call tonight, but he is. I have inside information about what he's trying to do. He has a book out there and a report, and so he asked me to review it a while ago, and I'm just sort of playing dumb here. I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to participate, and so I asked, what are you promoting, and what's one useful benefit? And so here is his explanation. This report will improve the success of IM beginners with facts, 6 elements, secrets, although I find secrets cliche, that will enable them to develop a prospering long-term online business and position themselves as a leader or expert in any niche. Well, that's a mouthful, but it's packed with goodness because we actually converted it to, this will have your neighbors throwing jealous tantrums on their way to the office. A no-hype 6-step roadmap revealing online success using exclusive tricks protected by 6-figure earners. Don't let the pickpockets that keep duping you with hype win on this one. Once your valuable savings are gone, you can't get them back. That's substantially different than where we started. All right, so those are 2 examples of what you can do on your own, and let me show you how to do that. What you do is you start with something that's useful. Right? In Cameron's case, it was a script, something that makes it automatic. In John's case, it is these six key components that people need to pay attention to. What's unique about it, right? And so for Cameron's, it had been hoarded by the trading professionals, and the uniqueness for John's was that 6-figure earners are keeping these secrets to themselves, not telling everybody. Ultra specific. When we go back to looking at ultra specific, it has to do with numbers, how long it's going to take, how many points there are. When we worked with Cameron, we were saying, you could adjust your trade anywhere between 0.1% and 99.9%. But that ultimately didn't make it in the final copy. But these are the key components that you want to be looking at. And then the last bit is urgent. How do you actually put in urgency? And actually, you saw that in one of these examples. I see there was a question there. Hold on just one second. For this last one, right? Don't let the pickpockets that keep duping you with hype win on this one. Once your valuable savings are gone, you can't get them back. That's urgency. That means do something now, or if you make the wrong choice, it's all going to disappear, right? So that's still urgency, but there's no countdown timer. And these are the kinds of things that actually work better. So, Phil, right? Are those reworked paragraphs intended for a sales page or a squeeze page? They are intended for a squeeze page. Both of these are. They are expected to be in a group of 3. So what I would normally do is I would go through a group of 3 and find the 3 useful benefits. This has not to do with how to build the watch. It has to do with what the watch, what a really cool watch that tells really awesome time does for everybody, and the status symbols and everything else. So something useful, and then something that's unique about that useful trait, something that's ultra specific that you can get out of using that or having that benefit, and then finally urgency. How do you get this sort of pregnant urgency that comes in a bullet point about something that's super useful? What happens? What are they going to lose if they don't make the right choice? That's really what you want to focus on, and you can actually follow that entire conversation. That's why we did it there in Facebook, so you can follow my logic. I'm going all the way through it, and you probably learn an awful lot about how to craft your own. But if you want some help with it, throw your name in there, and we'll tackle it together. You guys can watch, interact. It's fun stuff. All right, and then cliffhanger. We got 2 more things that are sort of the fun stuff in the screen pages and Optins. All right, so here's an example of a cliffhanger, and this is something that you can do very easily. And now that I have shown you the top 2 ways to write web copy that sells, discover 4 more powerful methods for converting cold traffic into buyers, and free yourself from the sorrow of failing online by watching this video now. You see what I did? I've been presumptuous here because this actually came from another training. The presumptuousness is that I have given you 2 ways to write really great copy. Now, there are 4 more. But you can't get those 4 more unless you go watch the video, and you got to go do it now. Well, the same is true when you write this kind of this kind of lead-in for a video sales letter or a little video that you put on a squeeze page. Right now that I've shown you the top 2 ways of making money online, discover 4 more powerful methods for being able to work in your pajamas Monday through Friday and take Saturday and Sunday off. All you have to do is sign up for the free report. Right? So
right there, Brad.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's what's so great about these kinds of this kind of mental trick is that you do give them something really cool in the video. And you say, look, I gave you 2, but there's still 4 more. You want to know what the secret is? You can't get the secret unless you give me your email address. And then I'll give you the secret. There it is. So that's cliffhanger. All right. Any questions about that yet? We're doing good? See some stuff going into the moderator tools here, but mine's closed. So if you have to interrupt me, feel free. Okay. And then this is the next piece is what you were talking about. Simon, it's called the trifecta. And the trifecta has concepts, and they come in 3, that's why it's called the trifecta. Concepts. Identification, oops, I misspelled identification. Identification, redefinition, and resistance. When you write your bullet points, you can also focus on writing your bullet points in these 3. You can either grab 3 benefits or do a combination of 3 benefits in each one of these 3. And that is identification. How is it that you know what somebody else wants? How do you identify with your audience? What pain and agony have you been through that they have also been through? Right? Don't make the same mistakes I made. I have shown you the 2 tricks that really, really work, and I have 4 more. All you have to do is sign in, right? So that's the identification piece. And then the redefinition. The redefinition oftentimes comes when you're talking about price. We see this everywhere we go. It's a justification of the price. It has this value, it has that value. You could do it in 6 days, or equate 6 days to a short vacation in the Bahamas, or equate it to the price of a pizza, or the amount of time it takes to wash your hair, or something rudimentary that people can really understand and then think of it as something super basic, right? If I could teach you the top 5 things that you need to do in order to drive amazing traffic to your website, and the less time that it takes for you to get through security at the airport, you might be into that, because it no longer sounds like an hour and a half standing in line. Now it's, we're moving, things are going well, and yeah, okay, you're going to frisk me, but I'm going to get through this crazy thing, and now all of a sudden, I'm engaged, right? I'm there. And then resistance. This is exactly what we were talking about before. Cut the legs out from underneath them. And that is, I know that you're skeptical. And you're skeptical about the fact that you can do it in less time than it takes to get through airport security. So this is what I'm going to tell you, is that I have this buddy, John, and this friend over here, Terry, and then Susan, and all three of them are going to tell you that it took them 59 seconds, or 59 minutes and 12 seconds on average to get all the way through this program. Well, as soon as they do that, they take away the resistance. So you just turn the resistance into this really great opportunity to prove yourself. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Be skeptical. And let me tell you why you don't have to be skeptical anymore, because I've already solved that problem. Let me show you proof. Okay. You can represent it in three different ways. You can represent it in a narrative, that is in words. Quantitative, this is the pictures, right, and the screenshots and the spreadsheets and the real data. And then finally, logic. You can say, well, look, if you follow my logic here, if what you need is traffic to your website, and then you don't have any money in the bank, but you understand the total value of your customer going in, you're willing to give up 100% of the commission to someone else who can drive traffic to your website, and you get the person on the list, even though you had to give up the entire profitability of the front-end product. That's logic. And all I did was walk through a process that I changed your mind about giving away 100% of the front-end product. When you say, well, they don't deserve 100%. Well, yeah, they don't deserve 100%. You're right. But let me walk you through this process. You don't have any money. You need the traffic to come through. And what did it really cost you? It cost you zero. You didn't have any money in your account before. You didn't have any money in your account after, but you have somebody else on your list. You have built your list for free. So let me walk you through that process. And that's exactly what this does. That's what that logic piece is. All right? So it looks like Phil's got another question. So I'm going to slow down, and we're going to see if you have another question. If you do, let's see what it is, and we'll put it in here. Let's see. No, okay. All right. That covers this whole ball of wax. In an hour and 20 minutes, you have now figured out how to optimize and take advantage of some of the coolest copywriting tricks on the planet. And there is somebody help inside the mastermind to get you through your own stuff. Because I've shown it to you here, you have a limited time to get onto Facebook and ask for the help there, because I haven't had a chance to look at Facebook, but I suspect that somebody already has jumped in. So go and jump in. I'm here to help you. I want to make sure that you get out of it what you need out of it, and it's a great learning experience for everyone else. When we are done here, remember that next week we talk about something super, super cool. We're going to talk about marketing funnel design. How is it that we create a funnel that makes money? What kinds of assumptions have we made in the past? In fact, let me ask you this, just one quick moment before we head off. Have you ever experienced anywhere else in your life, except for online marketing, where you buy a front-end product and then someone asks you to spend 3 times that front-end price on an upgrade? Has that ever happened to you in the past? I mean, think about it. Think about buying cars. Think about buying houses. Think about buying a Big Mac. Has anybody ever fundamentally said, well, I appreciate that you bought a house for $100,000, let's say $300,000, but if you really want cool flooring in that house and you want really cool walls and some painting inside there, I'd like for you to spend $900,000. and so forth, right? And so that's sort of an extreme example, but that's exactly what's happening online. Do you think that's the right thing to do? I'm going to prove to you that it's not, but I'm going to do that next time. So make sure that you sign up for that. And then on the way out of here, you're going to get to a landing page, and that landing page simply says, thanks, really appreciate it. Underneath the video that says thanks, if you can tell me one thing that you learned or one thing you thought was really cool, I'd really appreciate that. It just helps me know that I'm on track. And I don't delete any of those replies. And so if there's bad stuff to say, tell me what it is. I want to know that too. And with all of that, if you have some parting questions, I'd love to answer them for you. If not, then we're all done here. And thank you very much for your attention. We covered a lot of ground again today. So Phil, yep, you're right. If you guys have to go, feel free to go. I'm gonna sort of sit here and look at the questions that come in. Phil, you're right. Upselling IAM is odd, and we're going to talk about its oddity. We're also going to talk about the oddity of a one-time offer. I mean, how many times have you had a gun held to your head by someone who has something really cool and says, "I'm only going to offer it to you for 30 seconds. After this 30 seconds, it's going to go away forever. You're never going to get a chance to buy it." And then when you finally do buy it, you have buyer's remorse. I know what the answer to that is. I've been there. Okay. The other thing, Phil, I appreciate this last comment. One of the things you might search for in the MasterMIND group, there is a link to an HTML tool that you put in. You put in the URL of your sales page or your opt-in page, and it will go through and it will help you replace rational words with emotional words. And it's really kind of fascinating to run it through there and just to see, how you could emotionalize something that's super rational. It does a pretty good job of it. You do a search for it. For some reason you can't find it all. I'll see if I can find you a link to it. And then Bonnie, you'll be able to register. Great question. You'll be able to register for the next webinar right from the page, from the thank you page. It'll take you to the list of upcoming webinars. We have, we have a couple different kinds of webinars on there. You're going to see a Pro Bloggers Alliance webinar list, or some of those in there, and that is part of WordPress webinars. If you are a WordPress user and you want in on those, we're doing those separate. And you'll see the others. If there is a name in there that you don't recognize that happens to be an online meeting that I'm having with my clients, if you happen to register for it, I'll unregister you from it. So it's not a problem. But I run all of my online meetings through the same platform. So thanks for asking. No, I have no objection. Phil, promote as you need to. I want to make sure that we are viewed as the best resource for high quality, no pitch content on the planet. I don't want us to turn into a churn and burn webinar series in which we're selling something all the time. There will be times in which, in the future, everyone will know, hey, look, there's a really cool thing out there that I really absolutely love. I've been using it forever, and I want everybody to know. And when we do that, that will be a pitch webinar, but you will know ahead of time. I'm not here to do any sort of bait and switch, and I'm just here to share the goodness. So absolutely, please do. Please do. All right. No more questions coming in. So I'm going to change over the webinar to be just presenters. And thank you, everyone, for coming. I hope that you got something out of it. And I will see you on the inside of the IAM MasterMIND group and Facebook. Take care.